Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, I am Sandy and I invite you to subscribe. Today I am working on making some aged tape, some antique looking or vintage looking tape, and you might be asking, well, why would you do that? And sometimes, I don't know if you've ever come across an old book that has had some pages scotch taped. They start to look a little old and yellowed and brown and a little crusty. And so sometimes it's fun to recreate that. And so that's what I like to do with these aged scotch tape. So let me show you kind of how it looks. And I just have these on some wax paper. It's a great way to store them. But you just take a piece of the tape and then you just kind of find a page in the journal that you want to put it on. This is my kind of gardening and memory journal of my dad. And so let me just find a page. Maybe I'll try this page right here. So I sometimes like to also even tear them to make them look, this one I tore it right in half, but sometimes I like to tear them so they look a little misshapen. But you see, you just put a piece of tape on there and it just looks really aged. I love that look. And then we got this page here. I might put a little piece of it right here. So it's like, almost looks like I'm taping this little corner down that got a little tear in it, and I'm folding over the edge. So yeah, so you can make them as dark, as light as you want. So let me show you how I go about doing this. Now, sometimes people, instead of using Scotch tape, they may want to go ahead and you could use strips of paper and just age them up and then glue them down. You could do masking tape. There's all sorts of things that you could use. So you don't have to use Scotch tape. But I kind of like the Scotch tape look. So I am just setting out some little strips. They're about, I'd say, anywhere from 2 inches to 3 inches long, and you can make them as short or as long as you like. And I'm just going to put a few of them out here. And then what I like to do is use my alcohol inks. So I have honeycomb, and I have teakwood, and I have willow. And these are the colors that I'm using. And then I also have some alcohol blending solution, and I have some alcohol. Making sure the camera was still good there. And then I like to wear these gloves. And then I also have one of these little felt, these felt pads that you can use on your daubers, and they help kind of blend the ink. And there's no right or wrong way to go about doing it. I start usually with the alcohol inks, and I just put a little bit down, and they don't all look exactly the same. I kind of play around with the colors. So here I'm putting some of the honeycomb on this one, and then I like to add, the alcohol works just as well as the blending solution, so it's really kind of up to you which one you want to use. And then I just kind of blend with the little blending pad. And so the yellow gives it kind of more of a yellow look, not as dark as these. So you just play around with the inks that you have and kind of go for what color you think best interprets an aged piece of Scotch tape, if you will. And then on this one, I'm going to try a little bit of the willow with the teak wood. And then I just let these air dry, because if you use a heat tool, it'll sometimes cause the Scotch tape to crinkle up, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because then that even gives it an older aged look. But you might need to use a little bit of a glue stick to get it to stick. So here, the willow is a little bit milder than the honeycomb, so you're getting a little bit more brown over here. I am going to try, I haven't done the willow with the honeycomb, so let's do a few of those and see what those look like. But that's all I do to make my aged tape. And then I love tearing them at odd angles. The example I did earlier, it actually split right in half, which rarely happens, but that's okay. We just kind of go with it in this junk journaling world. If you don't have alcohol inks, you could also use, if you have any archival ink pads, you could smear some ink pads down on your mat, and then maybe use a little paintbrush or use one of these and kind of smoosh that onto your Scotch tape. I would be wary with using the Tim Holtz ink pads, the Distress Oxide and Distress, because they reactivate with water. These won't reactivate with water, but they will with blending solution and alcohol. And so, you know, if you know your pages aren't going to get wet, then you could use your Distress Oxides for sure. Ooh, I kind of like the willow and the honeycomb together. That's even more of a kind of a grungy look. So I might do some more of those. That's very cool. And then once they've completely dried, let me take my glove off and dry my fingers here. Once they've completely dried, I then like storing them on this wax paper. So let me show you. So it's just your normal, you know, wax paper that you get at the grocery store. But I just tear off a piece. You can cut it if you want all the edges straight. And I just peel the tape off of this mat, and then I put them onto here, and it stores great. I can cut these down if I want to store them in smaller pieces. I just did groups of 5, just kind of makes it easy. But you can see here I did use the heat gun, so you can see it crinkled it up a little bit. So if you want that look, then go for it and use your heat gun. I think that is a cool effect. But each one's a little bit different. I have some other ones over here. So they're pretty easy to make, and they dry pretty quickly. Like these first ones over here, they really look like they're dry. So let me show you. So I just peel up a corner here, and then I just place it onto the wax paper. I really like the addition of the honeycomb. I think it gives it kind of a lighter look, but it's really, there's no rules, you know, so anyone could work. I want to try putting one of these yellow ones in the journal and just see what it looks like on a page. And let's see if I can tear it to where it's not even. There we go. There's a little bit better. I'll put the other piece on here. So let's just find another page. I'm just gonna kind of stick this on here, like right down there. I think that's cool. So that is how I do my aged tape. If you want, you can come back with some archival ink and maybe do some stamping on top of it, or do some pencil marks. all sorts of different options you can do to add another dimension of layer onto these if you want to. Like maybe someone came back with a pen in their journal and they wrote something on top of the tape. Or if you have a stamp that has some script writing, then you could stamp onto these. But, you know, I would use archival ink so it doesn't smear. But then this is how I store them. I just store them on this wax paper, and it works good for me. But as you know, a lot of us, we really like the vintage and the antique look. And so this is a fun way if you don't have any actual vintage or antique tape in any books, then you can add your own. Now this was with the willow and the teak wood, and that's even a nice color. I like that as well. So I think using a little more willow and a little less teak wood gives it a little lighter than how these were mostly the teak wood. So you have lots of different options. See what colors you have. Pull out your archival inks and give them a try if you don't have any of these alcohol inks. The alcohol inks aren't very expensive if you don't have any, and they last a long time. At least for me they do. I really like this. I'm going to do some more of the yellow and the teak wood. But then, yeah, so I have them on the wax paper. And I can cut these down to smaller pieces if I want for storage. Or I can just leave them like this and put them in a binder. I could fold it in half. So lots of different ways to store your aged tape. And like I said before, if you don't want to use Scotch tape, you could also use masking tape. You could also just use strips of paper and use paint. You don't even need the alcohol ink. If you use strips of paper and use maybe the Distress Oxide inks and kind of give it a look. I haven't tried vellum, but vellum might also work as well. And acetate could work, but acetate can get a little pricey. So I would opt for the Scotch tape before I went with the acetate. So I hope this gives you some ideas, and you give trying to age some Scotch tape and have it look antique and have it in your journals. Give it a try. If there's any questions you have that I didn't answer, then make sure to leave them down in the comments below. Let's see, what page did I put that on? Let's see if I can find it. There it is. But I think that's just cool. I think it adds another piece of interest. So, all right, guys, I will talk to you all soon. Thank you so much for watching. And I want to say hi to all the new subscribers. Welcome. I'm so glad you all are here. Make sure to check all my older videos. I have over 400 junk journaling videos, so tons for you to go back and watch. I have a lot of tutorials and inspiration videos, so I hope you give them a try. All right, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.